This is Andrew from Music Scene Media, and I'm joined by Matt of Rain City Drive. How are you doing today, Matt?
Good, man. Just hanging in.
Yeah? How's the tour been going so far?
It's been really good. It's our first headliner, like official headline, and the crowds have been great. They've been super cool about the new songs.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you drop an album like right on a tour, and so people don't really have a chance to get too familiar with the music, and it's kind of fun to see the progression of playing the new songs, people being like, okay, and then like you can tell now that they know them a little bit better, so it's good.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. So let's dive right in.
Okay.
Your new album, Things Are Different Now, has been out for close to 2 weeks now.
All right.
Within this short amount of time, most of the new material has risen to your top 10 all-time streams. How has all of this positive reception felt for you?
Oh, it's great. I mean, we had a longer rollout of the singles, and that reaction has been really positive, so I don't think it's super surprising from that standpoint, but it is always fun to see the album cuts, like the non-singles that become popular in their own right, because it's like those are songs that the fans are picking themselves, which I think is a cool insight, and it's different. And sometimes when you pick singles, it's funny because you're picking things that you think people are going to like, but almost by definition, because you push them as a single, they're going to have a better shot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, you released a lot of killer singles. I know the first one, I believe, was Frozen. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reviewed that earlier last year for Music Scene Media. And
Oh, nice.
Killer track.
Thanks,
Whole
man.
album's killer.
Thanks, man.
You're currently on your first headlining tour as Rain City Drive.
Mm-hmm.
How would you compare the experience of this tour versus your headlining tours under the Slaves name?
That's a good question. I mean, this feels more settled in. Like I don't even remember. I think maybe we might have done one headline with me and Slaves, and it was we were doing some of the To Better Days stuff, and then still some. I think maybe only like 2 songs from Beautiful Death at the time. This feels to me better. I think I hope to all of us better. It's just we have so much exciting material now, and like between the 5 of us, so it feels really good. It feels like we're in a good little group.
Yeah, and since you joined the band, you all have established a unique sound compared to what Slaves was.
Yeah. And
rebranding it was probably the smartest thing you could do, because that's your baby now.
100%. Yeah. I mean, we just wanted to start fresh. I mean, I look at the timeline now. It's like, the band started in 2020 and really started over in a lot of ways in 2021, 2022. Like 2022 was the first official Rain City Drive tour, and so we kind of had to rebuild from the ground up. But I'm really proud of the progress we've been able to make in that short amount of time. So it's been great, and I think sometimes it can be scary to start a new project or a new venture if there's a lot of history, but you gotta focus on the positive too. If like there's that kind of unwritten potential when it is something new, and maybe something for people to get excited about. Whereas I think sometimes when it's bands that have been around for like a decade or sometimes plus, it's like, what are the odds that it's gonna pop off now if it hasn't?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just a fun, exciting new thing now. So
yeah, and y'all are absolutely killing it. Just want to tell you that first.
Thanks, man.
Y'all are killing it. Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Touring can be incredibly taxing for your mental and physical health. And since today is World Mental Health Day, I just wanted to ask, whenever your band tours, what do all of you do to take care of yourselves on the road?
Man, I mean, something as simple as having an off day every now and again is really nice. It's hard to like everybody's got like a little cold and shit, and that as a vocalist that's a little more challenging. You figure out ways to cope, but honestly these days that's a lot of where my mental is. Like somebody asks me how I'm doing, I'm just like, well, I'm waiting to do the show, and if I do well, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
And if I didn't do well, I'm doing bad. And then I'll play again tomorrow. Like it's like I'm just very lasered in on performance. I wanted to do well, but like little creature comfort things. Like we're on a small bus on this tour, and on the off day I was like, hey, didn't we have like a HDMI or whatever? Somebody was watching that new Penguin series on HBO.
Is it good?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. But it's like just something simple like that just makes it feel more like kind of normal life and kind of like homey, and you kind of be surprised by how much that counts for. Also, I have my dog on tour with me right
nice.
now. He's such a little angel, which is great. So
I'm glad you all have a chance to kind of make tour feel a little close to home.
Yeah.
So I know how lonely it can be out on the road. So
it's a big one too, and it doesn't happen that much over here, but like sometimes overseas, like England, certainly like Europe, but somebody will instead of having like a like a more of like a buyout for food or whatever, there's somebody from the venue just like makes like chili for everybody or something, and like that's just it's a nice feeling. You know what I mean? So
that's what's up, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
Right, so your new album explores themes such as mental health and lost love, with the latter being a more frequent topic. And absolutely correct me if I'm wrong, but certain songs seem to have a religious or spiritual undertone within their lyrics. What inspired you to write about these topics?
So, I mean, this is kind of the first time, like, more extensively writing about, like, loss and grief. I have Never Blooms about my dad. Lose My Composure's about my buddy Steve that passed away in a motorcycle accident.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah, thanks, man. And then, a lot of the other songs just, sort of about like a situationship that I was in, and that I knew was going to be fruitful in terms of writing. So it was fine, it's you gotta live your life in a way that you have stuff to talk about, and a lot of times those feelings are there. Like in the case of a song like Never Bloom, my dad's passed now, like almost a decade, right? But so all those feelings were there, thoughts and everything were there, but until you get that spark or that idea for like how the song can go, you don't really have anything. And then when you have that way in, then I had a lot to say. So things just kind of present themselves the way they do, and I'm always super grateful when I get that initial spark. Sometimes maybe it's just a title or a couple lines that I'm like, oh, okay, I can extrapolate this now.
The album felt very personal when I've listened to it every time, and I feel like it's the most vulnerable all of you have been.
Oh, nice, man, great.
Yeah, it's really a killer album.
Thanks, man. In the beginning process of this, I don't ever have this thought, but I was like, do I feel like being vulnerable? Like, is that cool? Should I just put on more of like put up more of a wall? But I was just like, man, all the people that I like, that's what they do, and I always thought it was cool. I never thought anything about it, so I think it'll help people, and or I don't think that. I hope that. Yeah, it's gonna help everybody. No, I hope people, that it's more helpful if I'm more vulnerable. I don't think it helps anybody if I'm trying to have a wall up.
Yeah, that's fair. And that I like what you said about hoping it helps people, because I can definitely see the themes on this album connecting to a lot of different people, even though it's your personal journey.
Sure, a
lot of people can take from those experiences for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I always try to do it in a way where, like, a little bit of a bird's eye view and think about how things are going to be taken. It's like I wouldn't be happy if it was just 100% me, just like venting or something, because ultimately it's going to be consumed by people, and I wonder how it will affect them. I think I don't like artists that are just like too negative, or there's never like any like, well, I'll just give up. It seems like it's kind of the theme, and I'm like, no, that doesn't help anything.
Yeah, it's kind of the route that Beartooth took recently.
100%, it's great.
Yeah,
just for the genre too, to expand the scope of what you can talk about, what we can do. I think it's good. I think it's healthy. Not only from like a health standpoint, but just in terms of perpetuating this rock music thing that's been around for so long. We need to figure out ways to keep it fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so continuing on the topic of your newest album, I noticed that a lot of new risks were taken with this LP, such as heavier instrumentals and more somber tracks. You even let out a few screams here and there, I noticed.
Yeah.
When writing this album, were there any specific goals that you had set beforehand to make this album stand out against your previous material?
The very early phases were just very kind of exploratory and free, and I think for self-titled we wanted to see if we could stretch out a little bit and expand on the groundwork we had laid into Better Days. But I think the thought was like, how can we make things a little maybe more pop leaning or more crossover, just because we wanted to. But I think on this record, for some reason, we're like, yeah, it'd be fun to go kind of heavy here, you know, and like just, I don't know, it just felt like everything just felt really natural and not forced on this record. Like even like you mentioned Frozen earlier, I keep saying that would have been like something that we would have had to devise or something that we dream up for a self-titled, like you know, we're always looking for something that can play on Octane and Active Rock and then could potentially have the legs to move over into more like mainstream rock or alternative regular format. And I feel like that song, you know, has that kind of balance, but it happened very effortlessly, which makes me happy. So I think that's indicative of us really like finding our sound more and more. And I think the way you do that is you just trial and error and give yourself a little bit of grace and freedom to experiment and see what feels natural. And you know, we want everybody to be happy. In terms of my contribution, like the only thing I really care about is words, melody, and I guess chord progression to a certain extent. But just if it's like, if I can play on acoustic guitar and I'm like, this is a good song, and you know, the arrangement, the production, whatever, let's make it something cool and modern, something everybody likes. But I think as long as the core of the song is there, it's good. And I feel like pretty strong about this batch of songs. So.
It's a great, like I said earlier, I'm not trying to kiss your ass or anything,
Yeah.
but it is a
Hey man,
great
I'll take it. Thanks, dude.
So everyone watching, definitely check this album out.
Alright.
It's a great one.
Thanks, man.
One major change that you had with this album is that you had a collaboration with Rory Rodriguez of Dayseeker, your single Medicate Me.
Yeah.
How did this collaboration come to fruition?
Yeah, that was one of the songs that, I mean, so we did an extensive writing trip pre-album where, like I said, I at least felt really good about the bare bones of the songs, words, melody, blah, blah, blah. But that was one that had an open verse and had like an open outro. And, you know, Rory was on a short list of people that we thought would be killer. He's worked with Dan extensively in the past, who we were in the studio with Dan Bronstein producing, and we also had the tour coming up with them, and so it just kind of just made too much sense. Rory's also somebody who, you know, we thought it would maybe be cool to have somebody do some harsh vocals, but obviously he's a great clean vocalist as well. So there was a lot of possibilities, and I keep saying it, but I give Rory a lot of credit for kind of safeguarding the vibe of the band in terms of like, we initially like maybe should do some scream stuff on the outro, and instead he wound up kind of not taking it 100% there and making like a gritty clean, and then I was able to do that with him. So shout out to him for like, you know, he knows the sound of the band and he cared enough to like, he's like, you guys don't really do that. So anyways, it's great. I think he set the bar really high, and would love to collaborate with people more in the future, but I hope that it's as good as that experience was.
Kind of piggybacking off of what you just said about collaborating with other people in the future, are there any other artists that you think would fit with your sound for future records?
Man, I think anybody who can really sing would be great and like exciting. I'd love to collaborate with a female vocalist. Maybe even doing something that's like a lot of like male-female kind of harmonies, like some major 6 Disney sounding stuff. But I think it could be nice.
Yeah, there's a track or a video on YouTube about your last Dance Gavin Dance tour.
Okay.
And you brought out Andrew Wells for Talk to a Friend.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I definitely think y'all should collab in the future. I think that the range difference and the fact that he could do cleans, non-cleans just so effortlessly
100%.
would really fit your sound.
Yeah. I really like Andrew's energy too. He's just a cool guy to be around.
So though your new album just came out, I can imagine that as a band you're always writing.
Yeah.
Thinking ahead to future material, are there any sort of concepts or sounds that you'd like to experiment with someday?
Man, for me personally, I think it's too soon to really be like I'm just still like I like to take in the response, like everything you're telling me now. You know, I don't take it for granted, and it seems like the response has been really positive, but that's not a guarantee. You know,
Yeah.
we could have had to like totally reassess. So I'm still kind of taking in the feedback, and you know, I for me as a lyricist, a lot of it is just. You'll still be able to hear me.
I hope so.
For me as a lyricist, I like to take time and live my life and let those experiences guide what I write about. So I think sometimes the work ethic is there,
Yeah.
and you can write and you can write and you can write, but you'll run out of shit to say at a certain point unless you take a step back and have something new to talk about. So I'm not sure what the next project was going to be, but I'm proud of the way this one turned out, and I look forward to pushing the boundaries sonically and hopefully sharing some new things lyrically about myself. Yeah, so
let's wrap things up because it's super loud back there.
Yeah.
First off, thank you for your time.
Thanks, man.
Do you have any sort of closing messages for the fans of the club?
You know, we're going to do a lot of touring off of this record, and so I hope to see you out there and sing along the new songs, and yeah, 2025, baby.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm Andrew from Music Scene Media. This is Matt, Rain City Drive. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, brother.
I hope you have a great tour.
Thank you, man.